Hey there.
Hello, hello, hello.
Now listen, now your sound was working just fine right before we went live and it got a little fuzzy, but we just gonna keep on rocking and rolling and
How's that? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but for some reason that other name that we mentioned before we went live is showing at the
Mm,
bottom. I don't know what you pressed, Robin.
I ain't pressing nothing. Y'all,
Hello, Narada. I don't know what you press, y'all. Let me tell you something. This is the joy of when you're going live. You have no idea what's going to happen. And I just realized in life, some things are just out of your control.
yes.
And when it's out of your control, you just do what you can. So we're going to work these technical issues out. But in the meantime, I want to tell everyone, Thankful Thursday. Thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, if you're not a member of the Relationship Entertainment Television Community, RETV platform, please follow and subscribe to Relationship Entertainment Television. I have it at the bottom. Everybody is not on Facebook, but listen, YouTube is there for everybody. You don't have to necessarily have an account for that. So I'm just hoping and praying that we are able to just go forth in the show and I'm able to hear Robin, aka the Peacock lady, who's going to tell us her story. But first, Robin, how are you on this Thursday?
I am well. I am tired.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm good.
You're good. Okay, so we're gonna do something real quick, Robin, because I want this to be right. I want you to go back out and do what you did right before we went live when it was right, because it's two of you at the bottom. And while
Okay.
she's doing that, for those of you, if you're not afraid to just say hello to me, that would be helpful. I'm grateful that Narada is always brave every week to say hello. And I hope that our sound and video is great. Um, Again, I'm the women's champ, and I have been commissioned to um, have a platform for women to share their story. So I'm going to try this again. We're going to try and add Miss Robin on back to the stream, and prayerfully those kinks have worked itself out. Okay, let's see.
Hello. Mic check, mic check.
1 2 1 2. We are in. We're there. Okay.
Nothing else.
Don't
Somebody
touch anything. Don't touch anything.
was
Somebody. Um. I hope that. So I hope that my sound is okay.
it's perfect. How's
It
my
is. Okay. Somebody give me a thumbs up. We working through these kinks, you all. These first few minutes have been trippy, but hopefully my sound is okay. So I don't know. Somebody said, "Hey, Toy, I'm trying to get over to my Facebook so that I can follow along to see who's making comments and whatnot." Um, Stephanie, thank you. Hey, Stephanie. Okay, so she gave us a thumbs up. So we're good. We're good. So Robin, let's start this over. I like to say Thankful Thursday. Sound is good. Thank you, Narada, for letting us know. Robin, don't touch anything. Tell us how your day is going.
my day is going good. Busy,
Okay.
but good.
Busy but good.
Hmm.
Okay, so I sometimes in this busy life that we all have, when we're kids, when we're younger, we tend to be around each other a bit more. And for those of you that don't know, Robin is actual family. She's really related to me.
Y'all don't tell the difference. Look at us.
And as we get older, what tends to happen is, and it's natural, it's not a bad thing, but we grow apart. And not that it's bad, but it's like, but the key word is grow. We grow apart. And so you may not always keep up or talk to people the way that you used to when we were younger because of our
Church.
involvement in church. There you go. We saw each other weekly, right? And then people going off to college, families, and so on. And so we move on. But I had no idea until I was watching Ty's show, and it just happened to be a show that my husband was on, and I didn't know that you had your own transportation company.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so
Oh, that Tina, I'm sorry, I'm looking at this.
That's fine. Hi, Dina. Thank you for tuning in. And I just want to encourage everyone, as I say every week, you all are so welcome to make comments, ask questions. Robin is a
Yes,
free spirited person and she will answer questions. We are not that way. This is a really relaxed environment. But I didn't know that you had your own transportation company. So most people, when they think of driving, they think of a chore. Like
mm,
and when you get older, you realize that, when we were kids, we thought our parents, and for me, my grandparents, just drive me anyway. Like drive me anywhere. It looked super easy, right?
right.
But we know that with driving, there's that concentration. You need to be alert,
Yes.
because sometimes you have to drive for other people, and sometimes people have to drive for you. So a transportation company, Robin, where did where did that come from outside of God giving you this desire? Like where is this coming from? The
Um,
transportation.
it stems back from many, matter of fact, many years ago.
Okay.
I actually wanted to be a over the road truck driver when I was 18, but
Mm-hmm.
I became a mother, so some dreams and aspirations had to be put off on hold.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, at one point, I was like, forget it, I'm gonna just take her on the road with me, and can't raise a kid on the road. So life took me in different paths. I've
Mm.
always loved to drive. Uh, you bringing up some memories. I remember when I moved to Memphis, and I was at home every 3, 4, 6 weeks, and my Uncle Joe, you here again, right? And I'm like, yes, sir, I'm here again. What's the use of you moving if you're gonna stay here all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Like Uncle Joe, I just needed a change, and he was like, all right, that road gonna get real old after a while. I was like, yes, sir, yes, sir. But fast forward to today or the last couple of years, and I've always loved to drive. That
Mm-hmm.
getting in the car, doing a 10 hour, give me some Twizzlers and some music, I can drive forever.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last couple of years, this became a only a passion, but I saw a great need here in Memphis.
Okay.
Memphis doesn't have the best transportation, public transportation, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis is also a car dependent city.
Mm-hmm.
And cars also here in Memphis solidifies a level of economic stance.
Mm.
So a couple years ago, I had an accident in one of my cars, totaled it out, and I had no cash. I was working, had no cash, but I had to get to work. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a city girl. God,
Mm-hmm.
let's see what the public transportation is like.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. I saw Memphis itself and its totality um, differently. I saw
Mm-hmm.
walks of life. I saw um, the economic, social, racial divide within the city. I
Mm-hmm.
the mental illness divide in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, whoa, this something's going on here that people got to be able to access their city. In order for you to be able to have a prosperous life in
Mm-hmm.
the city in which you live in, you
Mm-hmm.
need to be able to access it.
Yes.
So I saw a need and I was like, you know what? I was blessed to be living in an area that I had several uh, bus routes around me that I could
Mm-hmm.
maneuver like I wanted to, but
Mm-hmm.
everyone here in Memphis doesn't have.
Mm.
I saw a need and okay, fast forward, I'm in the school system and I see another need where parents are having a hard time getting their kids to school. I'm having my students not be able to get to school on time. And it was just a whole lot. And I was like, you know what? Something has to be done. I left education during the pandemic. And one of the reasons why I left was for my mental health. Um, so I could be better to my community along with myself and others. So I was like, okay, what can I do that I've always loved to do? And I was like, let's go back. We wanted to be a teacher. We did that. What else did we want to do? We're too old to go into the army, so I can't do that. Well, let's go back to driving. So I started doing Lyft and Uber. And another disparity, going back to the social and economic disparity in this city, because we have to remember that Memphis is an urban city with 65%. 65%. That's over that's over half. We have we have 650,000 people in Memphis, and 65 of those are black. And we mean 65% is black. So there is some disparity there. And I was like, well, if an Uber can be high, how can I help and be a part of their village to help these parents, not only parents, but everyday Memphians be able to sustain their lives? And that's where Peacock Transportation started, because I have one of my, the name came from a really, really close friend of mine named Katrina Upshaw. Shout out to my Aunt May. She calls me the Peacock. And she said the reason why is because to watch be in her element is like watching a peacock. The peacock is going to strut around, it's going to have its feathers low, it's going to walk around and make sure everybody's fine, touch everybody, make sure they're good. And when it's time, all of a sudden you see this beauty of the feathers come out. And that's how the Peacock Transportation was born.
Wow. That's the story because I was going to ask you that.
I'm sorry I started rambling. I just.
Oh, no, 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 no. Let me tell you something. This is a reminder to anyone, and for those that are watching, you never know if I'm going to ask you to come on. If I see something and I go, that's who I need to have on. You never know when I'm going to ask you to come here.
Yeah.
And that was going to be one of my questions. And I want you to know that when I ask people to come on, it's about them. This is about you. So you're not rambling. You know, you're giving us the backstory of, because people may wonder, well, why is she calling her the Peacock Lady? Because that's the name of the show, the Peacock Lady. And I was just like, I was wondering, I said, well, I wonder where did Robin get that name from? I was thinking about that before we went live. And that was something I was thinking about, that I wanted to ask you. And
also, the peacock symbolizes, a lot of people see the beauty, and actually the peacock that is the most beautiful is actually the male. The female peacock, she got these funny feathers. She looked real moldy, but the beautiful one is the males. And the actual peacock itself does have a certain symbolism. It is power, it is strength, confidence, and divinity. So I was like, this is my story.
okay.
Yeah, this is my story.
So when you say this is your story, tell us your story, because you probably said you came from Chicago. So take us back, because it really is something for when you say it's your story, you don't gain strength unless you've gone through something.
Exactly.
You don't gain power. You are, and I think one of the words that I used to describe you when I was writing the description of the show is resilient.
Very much so. Very much so.
So take us back to the Robin in the 70s, early 80s.
Little Robin Perkins being born in 1973 to Ruth Harris, my mom. Growing up on the west side of Chicago, very, very, very tumultuous environment. A lot of people say, "Ooh, Chicago," but I tell people all the time, I survived Chicago in a time that what you see now is still Chicago back then, or more. So the neighborhood in which I grew up in, we were gang ridden. We were lots of drugs, lots of poverty. I'm a welfare kid. I'm a project kid. My mother, love. I have no problem with telling my mother's story because my mother have come a very long way. My mother was a drug addict. Crack got her in the 80s, but it didn't keep her. Let's put that in perspective. And it was just a hard time in life, going from having a life where it was very, very comfortable. When I say comfortable, we went from middle class West Side kids living in a beautiful brownstone. Um, Mom had everything because daddy provided. Daddy got sick. And when daddy got sick, he couldn't provide anymore. And so then mom's got to make choices. So we had to move out of this beautiful brownstone, or what we call a co-A building, move out of there, move to the projects. And from there, life was totally different for us. A lot of things started to happen in our lives where, like I said, my mother wasn't on drugs for probably the first 8 to 10 years of my life. And so I remember a very, very strong, comfortable, loving household up into there. And then all of a sudden there was these things happening. Mom's not coming home. Things are happening. I'm used to walking in and seeing a refrigerator full of food. All of a sudden, lights getting cut off, and it was my whole world was topsy-turvy. So in order to be able to deal with that, one place that I had that always gave me solace and solitude was the church. My Aunt Rebecca, my mama even took us to church. Even in everything that she was doing, she took us to church. What happened?
Just give me 1 second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play my intro again because your story is so important. The saying, the devil is in the details, and we know what we went through before we went live. But I'm just going to take a quick commercial break because I know some people, I know right when I started at 8, everybody wasn't on. I'm going to play my intro. I'll probably loop it twice just so y'all know, because I don't want people to be so distracted by, because you're frozen like it's a delay, and I need you to answer your phone, Robin, because there's something I have to, connect with you with. So I thank all of you. Just hang in there with us. We're having some issues beyond our control, which is okay. And I'm not afraid to say that, but Robin, I'm going to have you log out, but answer your phone. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just play. We just want to have a quick commercial break, you all, and I will be right back. And matter of fact, I'm going to just play the RETV commercial so you all can support other shows that are on here. We'll be right back in one moment.
Hey, it's your girl, Tia Robertson. I'm the host of Entrepreneur Insider. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern for entrepreneurs and news that you need to know about. See you there.
Okay, we are back, and we are hoping that we have worked out as many of the kinks as we can. We're gonna try it again, but I'm gonna go ahead and add Robin because I felt that Robin's story was just entirely too powerful, and I might have lost some people, but that's what happens. I'm gonna add Robin, and hopefully her connection is okay. Let's see, Robin.
Hello.
Okay, I can hear you, but that person, the issue we had before is it's back on,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Great.
And
Did you send me the link, the YouTube link?
not yet because the commercial break was over, and I wanted to go ahead and um, get you going.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll do that in a moment, but I know you have to share your story. But for those of you that are watching, I know as we work out these technical difficulties, because Robin, you were just getting into the meat and the history of, you explaining to everyone about your power and your strength. And for those of you that are watching at this point, again, we're live. The sound is there. It's just that you're frozen. So people would just honestly, they would just have to listen to your story because, like I said, you're frozen. Like we can hear you, but you're frozen. Um, Talking about growing up on the west side of Chicago, and anytime, like especially in my grandfather even told me that even in the 50s, Chicago was crazy. Um, Thank you, Jordan, for your positivity. He was like, as long as we can hear, we just gonna keep on going, Robin. So we're not gonna worry about the other part. But I need that person to log off because I'm gonna have to keep kicking them off.
All right. Please send me the link and I'll get it to her.
Okay. What I'll do is
We're
I'll send you the link. But in
gonna
the meantime, just finish your story, and we're gonna keep going from there. So the west side of Chicago, you went from a middle class
it's the 80s.
living.
Come from middle class living, working class. Daddy was well off. He did his thing. Daddy got sick. Mom had to improvise. And like I said before, I am a welfare kid. I am a project kid. Um, it actually helped make who I am today. Do I know who Robin would have been? Nope. I don't care either. But with that being said, growing up in the 80s in Chicago, in the projects on the west side of Chicago, it was, like I said, a lot of poverty, a lot of killing, everything. And I just, because of my mother and who she was and what she set out to teach her children amongst all of that we were going through. Like, for instance, we used to go downtown Chicago. We used to go on vacations and things like that. And I was taught early on that where you're from helps make you who you are, but you don't have to be that. You don't have to be a product of your environment. So it was a lot of things that were going on that I had in my life that allowed me to maneuver through life and through that situation with being from the west side. Yeah. Life and through that situation. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, just make sure that your volume is down on your phone.
Yeah, the 80s hit, crack hit with my mom and everything, and we had to move to the projects, and it was just like, okay, I knew that life was bigger than the west side of Chicago. So that's my beginning. That's my beginning. We moved from Chicago to Milwaukee when I was 12 years old. And I thank God for that transition. My mother made a decision about life. And I'll let her tell her story, but she made a decision about her life that was very important for not only herself, but it was also important for her children. And I was able to see my mother in a sense and in a light as a woman making the best decision for her and her children. So, and then going back to the fact that my mother was an alcoholic and a drug addict, and daddy sick. I I became what you call the caregiver of the family. So out of my traumas of being an alcoholic and drug addict child of an alcoholic and drug addict and a that's sick and things like that, that trauma turned into, a lot of people would see it as a negative, but over the years I have used it for a positive.
Mm-hmm.
It has really gotten me through life,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm a natural giver. I'm a natural take care of people around me. I
Mm-hmm.
love people and things like that. So when I look at Peacock Transportation is my story.
Mm-hmm.
Peacock Transportation is that love of care that I gave to my mother and father. Um, I still have that in me. So now I give it to my clients.
Mm, mm, mm.
So
Isn't that
yeah.
something? I love that people hear often, about everyone having a story, and some stories are a bit more rough than others. And coming from, my mom's not here to tell her story, but I
Mm-hmm.
understand that part of becoming caregiver, because a lot of young children at that time suffered because of what their parents were suffering from at that moment. And I believe wholeheartedly it changed the trajectory of our lives. And you said something earlier that made me think about, sometimes we wonder, we can focus too much on what we could have possibly become if we hadn't gone through everything that we've gone through. But on the flip side of that, everything that we've gone through has made us into the strong women that we are today.
Correct.
You don't get
Correct.
strength unless you've dealt with a lot of resistance. And
True. And go ahead.
you go ahead.
What I was going to say goes back to, it's been many, many times in my life that I know Robin shouldn't be here. I have not always made the best choices. Um, but like I said, my mother, even being in the streets, she had the uh, the foundation of the church. I watched my mama party on a Saturday night and cry on Sunday morning because she didn't want to party no more. And she wanted to give her life. She knew that was life that she wanted to give herself.
Mm-hmm.
Baptize children and her getting baptized, no matter what, that foundation was there. And I truly, honestly, and believe that if it wasn't for that foundation, whew, no telling who Robin might be.
Mm,
Uh-huh.
mm,
So yeah, it's
mm,
it's it's something like my mother was part. So let's go back to the caregiving part.
mhm,
And I was always very, very close to my, there's a 5-year difference between my older sister, a 3-year difference between me and my older brother Steve.
mhm,
And so I was the one left at home. And
mm,
so when my mother would be the party, she would party, she would have her hangover. Oh, I need a nurse.
mhm,
Oh, I need a nurse. So I was the kid. She allowed me to roller skate. And we had a long living room, and she would let me roller skate through the house.
mhm,
And she'd call out, she was having her headaches and needed some water. Nurse. And I come rolling in my roller skate.
mhm,
Mama, what you need? But that was the start of
mhm,
my care.
mm,
Mama, what you need? Can you bring me some aspirin and some water?
mhm,
And that
mhm,
was me.
mhm,
So
mhm,
I don't.
mhm.
I think Robin today at 50 is exactly who she's.
Exactly who she's supposed to be. And now you're just a little frozen Robin. So I'm gonna have you. This is my main concern. Like I told you, as long as they can hear you, because we're going to get your story out. That's my main concern. And if I feel like I need to have you
Okay.
go back out and come back in, you're a little okay. But I want to thank those of you that are hanging in there with us. You all are some champs, um, to hang in there with us. But it's something that you said when like you were taking care of the sick as a child, and the sick being your mom, and it's like you're doing. Look at that. You were on skates, right? Uh, uh, you were on something that allowed you to have that movement, right? but years later you would be in a car driving around, really, you would be driving around sick people. And that was
Right.
something that I didn't know. And you and I kind of touched on that. Thank you, Narada. You and I kind of touched on that maybe 2 weeks ago when I asked you to come on, and you were
Mm-hmm.
telling me about a client who I can't remember what he suffered from. Uh,
Parkinson's.
Parkinson's disease.
Mm-hmm.
Parkinson's disease. And there are many different illnesses, sicknesses. Your mom had a different sickness, but your skates was your means of transportation. That was your mode of transportation to get your mom whatever it was that she needed at that time.
Well,
Not knowing that you were being groomed, even in that traumatic situation, because nobody wants to see their mom sick.
yeah.
Even in that traumatic situation, it was grooming you to become the Peacock lady
Yeah.
with your transportation. So let's talk about some of your clients. Let's talk about that client in particular, and what did that do for you? Because essentially this is a ministry.
It very much so is a ministry. And what people don't understand is I get a joy, a true, honest joy of knowing that I take care of people, knowing that people are okay. Um, the client, like right now, so Peacock Transportation is a it's a transportation company. However, there is a subsidiary that is companion care also.
Mm,
So my Parkinson's client, most of them are elderly males that can't drive anymore.
mm,
And these are strong willed, very important men in the community that their dignity and everything really, really matters. So, um, about a year ago, I was getting ready to embark on being a transportation for a small school in Memphis, and the deal fell through. And I was just starting out, and I was just sitting there going, Lord, is this what you want me to do? I was in my car, I was sitting there, and I was in full blown on tears. Because I was, when you're starting out, you got money problems, everything, and I didn't know. I would literally jumped into it head first, deep in. And I was like, you know what, God, if this is what you want me to do, I'm here. And sitting in my car, and I get a phone call.
mm-hmm.
And I get a phone call from a young man that around the city of Memphis, he has a restaurant, he employs a lot of people. He was one of my Lyft and Uber drivers, me riders.
Okay.
We had exchanged information. And he called me and he was like, do you have any time in your day that he said, because I got this affluent client out in East Memphis, and the husband needs a driver. And I was like, Now, mind you, I'm in full blown on tears in my car because that deal had fell through.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, give the wife my number and have her call me.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to the wife. I said, we're going to do a trial run on this Friday. So that's what we did. We set it up. And I get there and I meet this wonderful guy by the name of Tommy Kazee. Tommy Kazee, best personality in the world. We started talking, and all of a sudden, I'm like, Kazee, I know this last name. And he was like, so who are you? And he was like, I'm Tommy Kazee. I'm the former owner of OK Ford that used to be on 2700 Poplar Avenue. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, how long you been in the car business? My brother been in it. And he was like, well, this is a family business. He turns around and tells me who his grandfather is. And I was like, grandfather? He was like, yes, my grandfather is the the first half of Hull Dobbs Automotive. And if you know any automotive in the Midwest, South, all over the world, Hull Dobbs is still in existence today. And it was huge. At one point, they had 57 dealerships all over the world. He
Mm.
was my he was my client from September. That day he became my client because him and I had the same personality. We love to joke. We were two peas in a pod, have fun. And he was with me from September of last year up until uh, May of this year. He passed away this May.
Mm.
Um, that was my friend. We built a relationship. It has been a great experience. What it is no matter how much money you got, no matter how much influence you have in this city, you want to know that your loved ones are safe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I gave to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that 3 days a week, she don't have to worry. She can go shopping, she can go do whatever she got to do.
Mm-hmm.
But from 30 in the morning to 1:30 in the afternoon, Robin Perkins is taking care of Tommy Kazee.
Wow. And for those of you that are just tuning in, thank you guys for joining. Hey, Demita, Joe. Um, that is beautiful. And I am so grateful to hear your story, Robin, because again, you didn't know what you were going to be doing
Mm-mm.
later in life. And I immediately just thought of Kim Fields on the Facts of Life rolling around in those skates. I
It
think
was
it was Tootie, right?
my
In the house. Like, why is she riding around on skates in the house? Because, especially in our community, our household, you are not riding around on somebody's floors in some skates.
I
But
got
you know what I'm saying?
Christmas.
But I think about, again, like I said before, it's just interesting the mobility then as opposed to your mobility now. And you said that your business has the companion part to it.
Hmm.
Because oftentimes what happens is people will get into a vehicle and yes, you are paying for a service. And there's just that's the only exchange. I've just paid you to take me where I need to go. But sometimes we miss opportunities to see a person. And sometimes people, especially when you mention a man, and I'm so glad that you use the word dignity because it's important for us. And I don't know who's going to watch this. And again, all I really yes, I would love for your video to show and everything be in sync, but it is not that right now, but they can hear you. And again, I appreciate my faithful supporters. They tune in every week. They can hear you. And that's what's important because they need to hear your story. But the fact that you said that it's important for them to keep their dignity. And some of us, and I just keep thinking about my grandfather with this tattoo that I have, keep living. We don't know, for those of us that of our sound mind, our bodies, we have, I know you were talking about earlier. I told you you look about 25, but you said your knees don't feel 25. You still have mobility, Robin. We don't know where we're going to be when we're older, when it's time for us to get ready to depart this life. And people want to still be treated as a human being. They
Hmm.
don't want to solely be just, oh, that pity. She's sick. And then, people are looking at them like that, bypassing, like they can't treat you like a human. I think what has helped, what you have done, what you did for that man was to let him know, like, I see you.
I see you. I see you. I see you. And then because I getting to know him, I knew his personality.
Mm,
And I've actually we went to Florida for 9 days and people were shocked. I went into the bathroom with this man.
mm,
I didn't care if you gotta worry about a woman being in the man's bathroom, but I'm gonna make sure he's okay.
yeah.
Um, when it came time, he was on the pins. And I'm not a CNA, I'm not a nurse.
Hmm.
I'm just a girl that loves people.
Hmm.
And I looked this man in his face and I said, as long as I'm around, you are going to be a man. Because that's just
Hmm.
his personality. You are going to have dignity.
Hmm.
And always make sure that you are okay. He looked me right in the eye. He said, I don't know what I'd do without you. I was blessed to have you. Every time me and him were together, he said, I don't know where I got you from, but I was blessed to have you. And it's a feeling of gratitude that um truly and honestly, with my mother being 700 miles away from me. And I believe in karma. I believe in whatever it's like a boomerang. Whatever you put out there is coming back to you. And I was out to I was out to dinner with his Mr. Tommy's friends and him last night, because not only has that opportunity with him, it has also afforded my companion care to be with two of his friends also. So that's a continuation. These men have Parkinson's. I don't know what's going on in the water, but these men have Parkinson's. They can no longer drive, but they need to go, and they still have lives. And I was with a group of his friends last night, and I just told them, I said, I hope what I do for these men and take care of them, and not only that, take care of the women, because with the wives, because when they're having issues and need someone to talk to, I'm the one that they call. I'm the one that they're confiding in. So I'm like, okay, this is a community of people, and now my business have grown because of the care that I've given Mr. Tom. I am right now, I'm sitting in one of his friends' house that here in Memphis. They are known as the Canali family. If you know anyone in Memphis that knows Dee Canali, at one point, I am now taking care of the grandson of Dominic Canali, of old Dominic Liquor. I am sitting right here in his house. I've been with his wife, had to go out of town. He fell and hurt his knee. And she was like, "Do you mind staying with him?" I said, "Not at all. I'll be your extension of yourself."
But
And
wow. Let me tell you this, what people, again, some of us don't, what some of us don't do well at preparing for is the future. Like, we think of it from a financial standpoint, not, and again, I'm gonna say this, we never know how our health is going to be.
yeah,
And this isn't it. I'm not saying this for us to just eat whatever, but you can watch your diet. Uh, are you clear? Are you there? Or are you frozen? Let me see. I don't know what happened. I can't hear you, but I'm gonna just keep on making my comments, and she'll come back in. You all, this has been a night, but I thank you guys for hanging in there with me. But what sometimes people don't understand, and I'll talk to those of you that are still listening in. Um, Sometimes what happens is the people that are taking care of others, there's burnout.
yeah,
Okay, there's burnout, and they need to be able to, trust someone to help them with their loved one. Not everyone has a lot of children. And let's just be real here. There are some people that have children and they will not take up time with their sick parent or their sick grandparent or their sick aunt. You have some people that didn't even have offspring.
yeah,
So they don't have people checking on them. And so for you to be able to provide that type of relief, Robin, but here's the thing, also at the same time, get paid to do it.
yeah. And that's it. I look at it like it's a bonus. These people could tell me no. I don't want I don't want this little black girl in my house. His wife was like, choose whatever bedroom you want. You can be downstairs, or it's four of them upstairs.
Mm.
And I was like, okay. They didn't have Tommy and his wife. His wife wanted to go on vacation. She was like, I'm gonna pay for your ticket. You can stay in the condo with us. All expense paid. I mean, it's I take pride in what I do. That's it.
Mm.
And again, going back to my mother. My mother's 78 years old.
Mm.
I thank God for her, and I hope and pray that, because I can't be near her,
Mm.
that who comes in her life
Mm-hmm.
treat her as good as I treat everybody else.
Yes.
So
Yes.
whatever I'm doing, I hope it's a trickle down to her. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And I'm glad that you said that, because again, like, your mom is a senior citizen.
hmm,
And I know you proud of your age, being 50. In 5 more years, you will be considered senior citizen. And to see, look, and like how you said, like, and it's okay. It's a beautiful thing to get older.
Yes.
You and I both know people that have passed on much, much younger, some due to violence.
Yes.
And our family has definitely seen
A
some of
lot.
that.
Mhm.
So we got to be grateful for the fact that we are older. I will never, never be ashamed to say my age. And like Miranda said, the father is so proud. He's proud, Robin, because of what you are providing for others. And at the same token, you don't know who will look out for your mother.
Right.
You
And my
don't
children,
know. And
I
there you
look at
go.
it, I look at it like people are always talking about generational wealth when it comes to money and finance.
Mm-hmm.
But I see generational wealth like that. I tell my children all the time, and I know a lot of people in Memphis. And when I say a lot of people, because I don't meet a stranger. I talk to people. I see people, my relationships as resources, and I hope my friends see me as well.
Mm-hmm.
That my children and my children's children will be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else, you know what? You Robin Perkins' daughter. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
You Robin. Oh, that's Nolan Harris. Robin, little boy. Oh, let me go ahead. I know who you are. You come from good stock. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you're okay. That
Mm-hmm.
to me, that's generational wealth. So
Mm-hmm.
when I'm gone or I'm not necessarily gone away in the physical realm, I may just be out of town. And somebody say, you know what? I'm gonna make sure they're good. I'm gonna make
Yes.
sure all right. To me, that matters more with the relationship versus
Mm-hmm.
anything when it comes to money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean the transportation and the companion care, it all coincides because when you get in my vehicle, this is not just even when I was a Lyft and Uber driver, it wasn't just, oh, I'm gonna get you to your destination.
Mm-hmm.
You're in my car, you're in my presence.
Mm-hmm.
And I have learned over the years to use my gift for good.
Mm.
Um, and reason why I say that, I'm an empath, and I know people use that and oh, I'm an empath. No, you don't know what it's like to be an empath like I do, because I can walk into a room and I am going to do one or two things. I'm gonna feel the energy, feel everything that's going on in there, and I have the ability to shift the energy in there.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I say I'm walking in my purpose and I'm an empath, when I walk into a room or you get into my car, I feel all the energy. It's like walking into a dark room and turning the light on. I
Mm.
can feel
Mm-hmm.
everything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
many times I'll hear, I have no problem with saying, I hear the Holy Spirit say, be quiet, pray, leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And then moments where the Holy Spirit say, you need to ask this person how they doing.
Mm.
There has so many times as a Lyft and Uber driver that I just ask somebody how they doing, and I got a full blown on session between me and them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just listen,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm told what to do, and that's it. So to me, if you leave my presence better than the way you came, I have served my purpose.
You have served your purpose. I can't believe that our time is truly
Ending the
it's drawing close. But I'm grateful to hear your story, and again, I think definitely one of the takeaways is, and Robin, of course, I'll have to have you on at another time, especially when we don't have all of, the technical issues taking place, but for you to even dig deeper into your story, a little bit deeper into your story, but the fact that you used some of the brokenness that you experienced as a young child to
So
bring.
with that being said, like I've been thinking about this all day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was like, I'm going on. I don't even. I don't even know what I'm gonna say, and I know you told me not to do that. And I've been told all my life that I need to write a book. You've told me that. All my cousins, them, everybody that made me be like, "Oh my God, the story, Robin, you need to write a book." Um, and I've come up with a couple of ideas. But today I was driving in the car, and again, driving for me is very therapeutic.
Okay.
Because I'm an overthinker, my mind is constantly going. So I keep pieces of paper with me. I keep journals. I keep a pen because my mind is constantly going. And I was
Mhm.
thinking about, it popped up in my spirit again about writing a book. And my book would actually be a homage to my mother because I think my mother is a wonderful person. I'm getting choked up thinking about it. But I would give homage to my mother because of all the triumphs that I know that she went through. And I was like, well, what would you call the book, Robin? And I
Mhm.
said, and going back to when I say Peacock Transportation is my story,
Mhm.
the title, I came up with a title. I don't even know how, and I guess I need to start it. It would be from tri from triumph from trauma to triumph. I am my daughter. I am my mother's daughter, and it would
Mm.
be how parallel our lives really are. Me and my mother are so much alike.
Mm.
Besides look, because somebody always talk, "Ooh, you look like Auntie Ruth," but
Mhm.
our lives, and I think it was one of the things that uh, kept us really really close is because I didn't see my mother. I love my mother to the point that if I could breathe for her, I would.
Okay.
Uh, but it's one of those that I'm like, all right, this woman has a story. It's not mine to tell, but when I look at my life, I wouldn't be Robin if it wasn't for Ruth.
Yes. Yes. And we've talked about that, but the time will come, and
Oh, sure.
she will share her story. But we're going to wrap it up now. When we wrap up, just hold tight, Robin, because I need to talk to you after we end the stream.
Sure.
Very quickly, if you could, because it's like I can't believe how quick the time goes by. But just think about this, like what you could share with people if you just finish, what I know now, what you know now about life, what you know now about yourself. It could be anything. It don't have to be super deep. It could be, you say, look, somebody may say, I didn't know a tomato was actually a fruit. What I know now, whatever.
And I know I've talked about my mother a lot, but that is a very, very wise woman.
Hmm.
My grandfather was her father was a very wise man.
Hmm.
Um, one of the one of the things that going back to the resilience of my life, I know God has planted enough in me to get me through. But something that really hones in to me that my mother has always said: don't sweat the small stuff. It's
Mm,
all stuff.
mm. Don't
Don't
sweat the
sweat.
small stuff. Okay.
Don't sweat the small stuff because it's all small stuff in the eyesight of
Mm,
God. He tells us that one day is 1,000 years. It's all small stuff. It's all small. It's trivial. You can't take any of this with you. Me and my
mm-mm.
client, me and my client were talking um, yesterday. Now, mind you, this is a multimillionaire. His family, multimillionaires, and we were talking about what it's like to be a wealthy man. He said it doesn't matter. A rich man can't even buy his way into heaven. And I knew right then and there I was connected with the right person. And he was
Isn't
like,
that something?
he said, when it's all said and done, I could die right here today with every dime in my hand, but I can't take none of it with me.
You absolutely. And that says a lot. And so I hope that um as I close out, I hope that if nothing else, I hear the word humility, Robin, because your service it's a service. You have put yourself in a role to serve others. And some people, they want all of these things in life, but they are not willing to humble themselves. Humility goes a long way. And
It, it does.
it goes a long way. And we're gonna finish this because I know I have to close out. But humility goes a long way. And I don't want us to forget that. And I just want to tell you, thank you for your service. And for those of you that are watching, if you all know anybody that is in the Memphis area, contact, if you haven't done so already, I'm going to just tell you all, follow Robin on Facebook at Peacock Transportation LLC. If you all know anybody that's in the Memphis area, and sometimes it's not even about, I know she mentioned about, the people that, have the Parkinson's disease, but sometimes you just might not feel like driving. You may have family coming to town, or you yourself may go to Memphis. And I forgot to put this on. I try to support my daughter, but if you like my lip color, go to SadeMarieCosmetics.com. My daughter has her own lip line, so I got it. That's your day. Robin, that yeah, some cake, right? So, but if you guys know anybody, again, that could benefit from her services, because like I said, the fact that you are treating people with dignity, Robin, that really struck a nerve with me, and especially with men who were used to being at the top.
Yes.
And now they are relying on the services of someone else. So I'm telling you, thank you for your service. I thank you for being on tonight. I thank those of you that have hung in there with us for the past hour. And again, I'm going to have another show next week with another beautiful lady. And until then, I want everyone to be safe and be great. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
You are welcome.